I'm exhausted. The first year of operating my very own personal training business has just ended. Do I need to do anything special with my accounting records before I begin the recording for the new year?
Of course, let me help. Have you finished the unadjusted trial balance?
Yes.
Great, so all you need to do now is the adjusting entries, followed by the adjusted trial balance, closing entries, and post-closing trial balance.
So I have to do 2 sets of entries and balances.
Exactly.
Alright, sounds good. Where do we begin?
So the first thing to do is classify whether the entry is a prepayment or an accrual. For example, if you have an expense and it has been paid in advance, then you would credit the asset. On the contrary, if it was incurred first, then you would credit a liability.
Alright, I understand. Can I try to explain for the revenue?
Of course, go for it.
So in the case of a prepaid revenue, it would be like cash received before it has been earned.
Yep.
So it would be initially recorded as a liability to recognize the obligation to be provided in the future, and it will debit the liability.
Yeah, liability.
And credit the revenue.
Yeah.
And if it was, on the contrary, if it was not received, it would be debit the asset.
That's right, too easy. So you seem to have the adjusting entries under your belt. I'll quickly explain depreciation before we move over to the trial balances and closing entries. Do you know how to calculate depreciation?
Yes, so it's cost minus residual value divided by usable life.
That's right.
Okay, so let's say cost was 20,000 and residual value was 5,000 and useful life of 5 years. You'd end up with 15,000 divided by 5, which gives us 3,000. You need to divide that by the 12 month for the 1 year.
That's right, because we're recording for this year, which gives you a value of $250. Easy, right?
Yeah, so let's move on to the adjusted trial balance. Do we simply add the adjusting entries into the adjusted trial balance?
Correct. Right after you post the adjustments to the ledgers. Well done. Now that we've done the adjusting, we need to close our temporary accounts, and it involves 4 general journal entries. It's required so that we determine the profit or loss for the period and if there's been a change in owner's equity. You with me?
Yeah, so that's the first account that we close.
So we close both income and expense accounts, the profit and loss summary.
And do we get the figures from the adjusted trial balance?
That's right. Once you've closed both, you'll know if you made a profit or a loss.
Okay, great.
Once you've found out that you've hopefully profited, you then close your profit or loss to capital, followed by closing drawings to capital also.
And do we then post the closing entries into the ledgers?
Yes. So in doing this, you'll balance all the accounts, and the temporary accounts will have a balance of 0, which is then classified as closed. These are your income and expense accounts. The accounts from 100 to 300 will need to be balanced using a T-ledger, leaving you with the closing balance.
That makes sense. So these closing balances, do we then post them to the closing trial balance?
That's right. And once you've done this, you'll have the opening balances for the next period ready.
Awesome. You've explained this so well, and now I can apply it to my actual records. Thank you.
Happy to help.